All I know is to be no reason. All I know is to be no reason. All I know is to be no reason. All I know, and you know, look at what happened. All I know is to be no reason. 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 All I know, and you know, look at what happened.
commentator CTV. Welcome to another riveting episode of the Consciouztv platform. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Monday and having a joyous holiday with your tribe and your family and your loved one and all of the other leeches, okay? You guys already know what we're here to get into. Before we do so, I need you guys to go ahead and thumbs up the video. You guys know that thumbing up the video helps with YouTube's algorithm, but more importantly, it triggers up YouTube's notification system, all right? So when you are liking a video, which is thumbing up the live stream, you are literally knocking on the digital door of another Conscious Crew member and telling them to get their arses in here into hell with Santa Claus, all right? Also, shout out to all of the new subbies. I love you guys long time. Also, make sure that you guys share this stream out to wherever it is you have digital community, whether that be your YouTube community wall, your Facebook, your Snapchat, your Insta story, your BGC, your A4A, your Jack, your Grinder, your Scruff, the dark side of Twitter, Tumblr, or your personal OF. I don't really give a damn where you lay the link. Just let them whores know the real out live. And then Cullen, with no further ado, let's go ahead and push on through. Okay.
I know a place where you can recharge your soul.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
And in the midst of brokenness, he gon' see your asshole.
Baby, that's Consciouztv.
You gon' heal, you gon' laugh and catch a little shade.
Ooh, girl.
Y'all know he be slaying, y'all better stop playing. Come hear what he's saying.
Ladies and gentlemen.
All right, let me go ahead and shout out to my baby mothers and my baby father. Shout out to my old nasty piece of baby mother, Cheryl. Thank you, baby. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to you, too. I also want to shout out my baby mother, Veronica. My old nasty child support check. This was from the previous live stream. She said, "For you did that." Hashtag Christian Key. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Shout out to my baby mother, Keaton. Thank you, baby mother. Who also said, "For love, you're a sermon to Christian preach conscious." Also, shout out to my baby mother, Dominique, and my baby mother, Tanika, and Angela, and Amanda, and Miss McGee, and Star, and Esha, and Monica, and Leslie, and Aquarius T-Toy. Shout out to all of you guys. I love you all. You guys know that if you want to show the king some love, because we're working over here, all donation information is in the scroll below as well as in the description box as well. Also, I know that we are live and in color on this white man's holiday. So for those of you who celebrate that, happy holiday. I am not a holiday person. I used to be when my mom was here in the flesh, but you know, she transitioned and on into another incarnation. So, you know, I just moved on with my life. And also, I've been celebrating the past few holidays on my own. You guys know that I am temporarily choosing to be estranged from my relatives right now because I'm just not ready to go back. I've been on a 5-year, 6-year vacation from them, and I'm not finished. I done got addicted to my peace. I done got addicted to just the stability from, you know, all of the dysfunction that comes with those well-meaning folk, but my God, you know, it's just too much. So I've been really enjoying the past few years to myself, by myself. I'm not ready to be back into all of that, and I don't know if I ever really will be again. So for all of my people who doing it on their own, and for all of my people who are learning to stand 10 toes down in their healing and are not running to temporary reliefs, but you're really committing to your journey, you're really committing to resetting the emotional, mental, spiritual, and physical algorithm of your life. Like, shout out to all of y'all who are doing this. As somebody who is on the other side of that thing, I can tell you that it gets better with time, it gets easier with time, and protecting yourself is one of the most vital and significant things that you can do. So anybody who just feels trapped in a cycle of BS, the old adage is true that you can do bad all by yourself. You don't need no niggas help. You don't need no bitches help to do horrible, girl. Matter of fact, the weird thing about it is most of us actually do really well and we thrive with less relationship in our life, with less people to be tied to. It's really a shame that people can't be an asset to your life emotionally or an asset to your life spiritually. 99% of my issues in my life came from dealing with other people. It never came from dealing with myself. Like when it's just me, King Midas touch, girl. Everything is boom, 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 baby. The minute I start dealing with folk, girl. Okay. So protect your peace. I chose to buy myself a bunch of Versace robes for Christmas. So I ordered them in all colors, the multicolored one, the pink one, the red one, the blue one, the black one, girl. So I'm waiting on them. They're on a back order because it's Christmas time. I really didn't know what I wanted to gift myself with. I was like, I need to do something nice for myself because it's also really important that you are very like celebratory of yourself, especially if you're on a bit of a hiatus and you're doing you have to make sure that you kind of like substitute a support system that you are going without, okay, until you're ready to have one. So if you're on your own as well, make sure that you celebrate yourself, make sure that you treat yourself, make sure that you do right by you, okay? Set that stuff in motion, baby. All right, what's going on, you guys? Now, we're here to get into some things. You guys know that, yes, indeed, the Conscious Crew, girl, we cracked the case, honey, okay? CTV Esquire, period. All right, you guys know that we specialize and our niche is making it make all the way sense. All right, so you guys know in our last live stream we reported that Christian Keys and Tyler Perry, shout out to Critically Drinking, happy holidays to my boy Arshawn, thank you, and Merry Christmas to you too. Arshawn said he listening while driving, but Merry Christmas to the king. From one king to the other. Thank you, thank you, thank you, sir. God bless you and your family. You guys know that we cracked the case. You guys found out that Christian Keys and Tyler Perry had been sued by Larry Lamont Ledford. All right. He was sued. He filed his lawsuit back in 2022, and the case was ultimately dismissed around November the 30th or November the 20th, I should say. All right. Now, a lot of people are trying to figure out why in the hell was Christian Keys so triggered? What had happened? Something had to have happened that had made him jump out the window. Well, I believe, and now many others believe, okay, who have followed suit after me, that Tyler was triggered by that lawsuit. Now, we got into the ins and the outs, and we're going to revisit some of those ins and outs. Because a new lawsuit has been filed on behalf of Mr. Ledford against Tyler Perry and Christian Keys again. Yes, again, girl. And I also want to say, oh my gosh, shout out to my baby mother, Ken Goddess, for the nasty beast. Child support check. But happy holidays to you too, baby mama. Love you. I love y'all down. Thank y'all so much. I do this for y'all, honey. All right. So we're going to revisit some of those things. All right. Also, I got to tell you guys what the past few days of my life have been like. I've been spooked and nervous. I've also had to consult with some lawyers. Thank God I have relatives who are lawyers. I have a great uncle who's a judge, and I had to get some legal advice because as a result of my commentary and as a result of you guys sharing and tagging and getting the word out, there have been various people who have been reaching out to me from two specific camps. I've been provided screenshots, footage, pictures, bank transfers, and an onslaught of various exhibits from A to Z regarding two parties. 3 of the individuals who have reached out to me are making claim that they are in fact on payroll regarding 2 specific parties. Right now, those individuals don't want to come forward, but they're gearing up to come forward. One person was supposed to come forward last night and I guess got razzled and dazzled. There's a lot of rumblings happening as to be expected. People are moving around to do damage control. So the concubines and the whores are prepared to get their bag, either on the front end or on the back end. The concubines are prepared to expose everything if they are cut off as a result of certain parties moving around trying to do damage control. Some of these concubines, 70% of their income comes from being face down, ass up, or either laying the other parties down low and spreading them real wide. I have an abundance of audios, private conversation and dialogue. When I'm talking about receipts, I'm talking about the cup that runneth over from specific parties. I know there are certain people in here watching and lurking and looking right now. And I know that there are certain powers that be that are watching right now. All I can tell you, powers that be, is you already know that you're going to have to be very delicate with your concubines. You better treat them right, baby, because whatever it is they want, it's probably in your best interest to give it to them, because folk are ready to yabba dabba do, especially if they lose a bag as a result of certain parties being sloppy in their dynamics with other concubines. And these particular concubines feel that they should not have to suffer because of the sloppy navigations of certain powerful parties involved. For me, I am not shocked at the reality, because you guys know I don't put nothing past nobody, and I have indeed seen it all. I have been a part of it all in my own journey. Okay? I know how wealthy men get down. I know the type of convenience and luxury that people in high places desire as a result of living very fast-paced lives. They don't have time to really build authentic relationships. They just like to get to it. And this is what makes them very, very much so transactional. Okay? There are various sugar babies who provide various things to the parties in which they serve. Some of these affairs are emotional. Some of these affairs are sexual and very explicit in nature. There are parties serving various dishes and cuisine to the kings. Okay? What I am more so shocked about is not the reality of these things. What I'm shocked about is the level of receipts to confirm and verify such things. I'm surprised that certain parties did not move in a way that I'm going to say they had the opportunity to. They had the opportunity to do so in order to reduce the amount of objective receipts there are to back up certain things. Now, right now, I ain't slapped no name on the parties that I'm talking about. I'm just speaking about the parties. That there are parties. And right now, the concubines are getting in formation and they're mad. They're shook. Their back is up against the wall. And they are not prepared at this time, especially in this economy, to go without the hundreds of thousands of dollars in which they make a year being indentured sexual servants and boy toys to certain parties. They are not prepared to do that. These concubines are well in their 20s. They thought they had their whole 20s and mid-30s ahead of them to continue to exhaust a certain salary a year, and all of that may come to a standstill because folk are doing damage control right now and may need to back up off certain things because certain shit is hitting the goddamn fan. I just wanted to lay that out. Okay? I'm going to, you guys know I have a personal ethic of not telling other people's story, especially when they come to me directly and they trust me with certain things. I could be a messy ass Wendy Williams type of a blogger, but what I can say to you guys is that when it goes up, and it looks like it's going to go up, this will be one of the first platforms that you will see said explosive receipts from. I have seen enough to know exactly where I need to personally stand in the matter. So when it's greenlit, keep your reminders set. Keep your motherfucking reminders set. What's going on? Make it make sense. I like a bit of mess every now and again. Shout out to Make It Make Sense for the 100K. Congratulations. Yeah, everybody like a little mess. This is far more than mess, you guys. We are talking about the reality of certain very strong Black empires coming crashing down. When I get into the Diddy, TD Jakes situation, all I'm going to say, bitch, I just want to know if the wife know. That's all I want to know, baby, is I want to know if the wife knows. I just want to know, girl, like how much is communicated and how much is not communicated. Because, you know, some people got an understanding, baby. I want to know if the call is coming from inside the house. Silent Sister says the wife always knows they play crazy. There's a reason why is the reason why I'm leaving room for the fact that she may not know. But when we get into that commentary, we'll get into all of that. All right. So let's go ahead and move on into what we got to get into today. All right. We're also going to be discussing a industry insider linked me to another individual who had a very bizarre experience with Tyler Perry. I'm going to state right off the gate, obviously all commentary I'm going to say is alleged and is referenced from other people's alleged anecdotal experiences, etc., speculations, commentary, opinions derived, okay, from media outlets and from, once again, people's personal anecdotal experiences. All right? Now, Christian Keys. Let's get into cracking this case a little bit more, because you guys know what we do over here is we refine our perspective based upon the information we get. So the more information we get, the more we refine the data. You guys know that. Let me go ahead and pull up an old nasty piece of visual. You guys know I love me an old nasty visual, girl. All right. Hold on. Let me do something for you. And thumbs up this video, you guys. To the left here is Mr. Ledford. All right. Mr. Ledford, Larry Lamont Ledford, that is a screenwriter, all right? And he, as you guys already know, filed a lawsuit against Christian Keys and Tyler Perry Studios in 2022. Well, come to find out, this isn't Mr. Ledford's first attempt at suing Christian Keys or Tyler Perry. He also filed a lawsuit against the Hollywood-Madea dynamic duo back in 2021. Now, both the 2021 and 2022 lawsuit that just wrapped up in 2023 of November, both were dismissed because of technicality. In the 2021 lawsuit, which you guys can see here, all right, Mr. Ledford's lawsuit, which was under the guise of copyright infringement, claiming that Tyler Perry and both Christian Keys essentially stole his intellectual property, revamped it, turned it into a mini series, and did not cut him a motherfucking check. All right. Now, in the 2021 lawsuit, Mr. Keys failed to properly serve the parties involved, because not only was he suing Tyler Perry, he was also suing Christian Keys, and he was also suing an attorney by the name of, let me get her name here. I think it's Donna Cooks. All right. It's a lot of moving parts, you guys. Yes, Donna Cook. All right. Donna Cook, we want to get into her. All right. So 2021 lawsuit was dismissed on a technicality. He failed to serve and he failed to state a claim. And the same technicality came up in 2022. All right. Well, we thought that all that was behind them and Christian Keys was just left with an attitude because of all the fuckery that has ensued this year around the Queen's men and then his alleged past uncomfortable dealings with Tyler Perry. Well, Mr. Larry Lamont Ledford is doubling back around for the third time under the guise of copyright infringement, baby. He's coming for his coin. And when you guys hear how much this man is owed and how much he's fighting for, you're going to understand, girl, why he refuses to let off of Christian Keys Miss Cook, and Mrs. Perry's motherfucking neck. All right. So I want to bring you guys up on the new lawsuit, baby. Matter of fact, I'm going to read it for you all. I will link the case number down below. And this lawsuit I'm going to read is courteous of pacer.org or .com, I should say. All right. Now, this is what the lawsuit reads from Pacer Girl. Okay, this lawsuit was filed. Hold on. Matter of fact, let me just go ahead and share my. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Just show you what the T is, honey. All right, you guys see that? You see that, Rhea? November the 30th. This is a new lawsuit, all right? The last one was just terminated 10 days before the new lawsuit was resurrected in its name, all right? Now, let me bring back up Mr. Ledford and Mr. Christian Keys. Bloop. Okay, all right. So, Larry Lamont Ledford is suing Tyler Perry Studios, Christian Keys, and Dana Thomas Cook Esquire. All right. The complaint reads as this. The basis of this complaint alleges that the above-named defendants have engaged in a scheme to deprive the plaintiff of his exclusive rights of his entitled work Trappin'. Without his consent and permission, has reproduced his work and is now profiting from this illegal act of infringement, the alleged work entitled. All right. All the Queen's Men is a derivative work based off the book by Mr. Christian Keys entitled Ladies' Night. The derivative was created on or about 2019 of 2020 and released on September 9th of 2021. Plaintiff is alleging that the derivative work of the defendant's fictional character of All the Queen's Men bears substantial similarity to the protected creative expression via his fictional character that is depicted in his story, Trappin'. Briefly, the plaintiff's story was to be pitched as a franchise series that has a two-part storyline for potential spin-off opportunities. One part is about 4 coming-to-age teenagers who has gained national attention as rap artists. The second part and the central focus of the story centers around their childhood friend who has started the largest gentleman club in Atlanta and the United States. Operating her strip club called Black Pearl Entertainment, Tammy Mocha Johnson is considered to be the most feared woman in the entertainment industry. She is protected by her female chief of secretary, Bridget, who is trained in all firearms as well as martial arts. She is constantly by Tammy Johnson's side 24/7. In the defendant's derivative work, All the Queen's Men, we'll discover that the story's main fictional character, Marilyn Madame DeVille, aka Madame, played by actress and model Eva Marzell, who runs and operates the largest strip club in Atlanta, Georgia, called Club Eaton. She is considered to be a boss of all bosses and very dangerous. She is protected by her female chief of secretary, Blue, who is constantly by her side. Setting in Atlanta, shooting location, large strip club, character similarity. The story is identical and is substantially similar in concept and feel. See Roth greetings card versus United States card. In defendant Christian Keys' book, Ladies' Night, the main fictional 432 prison, he soon finds work at a nightclub located in Inglewood, California called Eden, ran by a character by the name of Mary Fox. The book was completed in 2013 and 2014. Again, Atlanta was not mentioned as a setting or location, very critical as it relates to his infringement lawsuit. The absence of one of the main characters that protects Madam was not in his book of Ladies' Night, Female Chief of Security Blue, giving the impression that my work was copied, then altered to make their series. This proves substantial similarity in my prima facie case. Plaintiff is owner of the copyrights and has therefore pursued his constitutional right to this lawsuit in federal court. And then it goes into, oh my God. Okay, let's read the defendant's statement of claim. Tyler Perry Studio presides on One Tyler Perry Studios Way, Atlanta, Georgia. Tyler Perry Studios is a licensed corporation for profit. The corporation produces, develops content for television via streaming platforms, as mentioned in the above statement of claim regarding the law office of Dana Thomas, LLC. Defendant Tyler Perry was allegedly given plaintiff's confidential material and allegedly began without the authorization by the plaintiff to reproduce, develop, and distribute plaintiff's protected creative expression via streaming. Plaintiff is claiming after the alleged leak of his television series Trapping in 2019 is the year Tyler Perry Studios began the infringement, development, production of All the Queen's Men. After the purported misappropriated manipulation of the plaintiff's literary work, it is when they created in derivative work All the Queen's Men. After the completion, defendant Tyler Perry Studios registered the infringing work June of 2020. Plaintiff is claiming that All the Queen's Men was created in 2019, copywritten in 2020. Plaintiff work received his copyrights in October of 2018. Once plaintiff received his copyrights, it was the following month that he reached out to the defendant law office of Dana Thomas, LLC. Tyler Perry Studios are reaping financial benefits by distributing the infringing work to multiple streaming platforms. Thus, 448 copies has been distributed to 8 streaming platforms, making it a total of 384 copies. Without the express written permission of the copyright holder, Larry Lamont Ledford, Tyler Perry Studios, under Title 17 U.S. Code 501, and knowingly and willfully committed copyright infringement and violating Title 17 U.S. Code 106 under exclusive rights statutes. Defendant Tyler Perry Studios also ignored the copywritten notices that were affixed to the alleged leaked material and allegedly replaced it with a new one under All the Queen's Men for copyright registration. Tyler Perry Studios has inflicted irreparable mental and economic harm to the plaintiff as well as to his family. As such, plaintiff is entitled for relief in the form of statutory damages under Title 17 U.S. Code 504 for remedies. Plaintiffs has elected for maximum statutory damages since this was a willful act for all copies that were submitted to the various streaming platforms. Lastly, plaintiff is asking the court for further sanctions, including but not limited to punitive damages and injunction relief as a whole. Relief sought for injunction is to order defendant to halt the continued production of the television series until such remedies has been settled. I believe that the facts state in these particular of claims are true and sufficient. Christian Keys, defendant Christian Keys, has no listed physical address. He is an American actor and writer and author of Ladies' Night. Place of employment currently is Tyler Perry Studios. Plaintiff is claiming that once Tyler Perry Studios allegedly received the leaked material from defendant law office of Dana Thomas, LLC, that Tyler Perry Studios allegedly used defendant Christian Keys' novel Ladies' Night, which was published in 2014, to conceal the infringement by creating a derivative of The Queen's Men, and illegally used plaintiff protected creative expression as their derivative work, a derivative work that quite frankly was created in the year 2019, 5 years after the publication of Keys' novel, and registered it for copyright of June 2020. This means that the copyright owner of the original work also owns the rights to derivative works. Therefore, the owner of the copyright, the original work, may bring a copyright infringement lawsuit against someone who creates a derivative without permission. Second, the the derivative work itself has copyright protection. The creator of the derivative work owns the copyright to the derivative work. This can either be the creator of the original work or someone else who has obtained a derivative work license, that the holder of the original copyright. The copyright, now mind you, it's some grammatical errors and words missing. This man is self-representing himself, okay? So it ain't me, bitch. The copyright of a derivative work is separate from the copyright to the original work. Therefore, if the copyright holder gives someone a license to create a derivative work, the holder retains the copyright to the original work. In other words, only the derivative rights are being licensed. Defendant Christian Keys, Tyler Perry Studios, and the law office of Dana Thomas Cook did not seek out the express written permission to begin altering and producing the derivative work of the Queen's Men. It was a nefarious act, to say the least. Defendant Christian Keys has been promoting this derivative work of the Queen's Men and is claiming that he is the sole creator of this literary work. What he is doing is making false representation and is misleading audiences through social media and blogs. By admitting that he is the creator of this work, he is complicit, and he also is therefore liable for the lawsuit that has been issued. By his conduct, defendant Christian Keys has done irreparable economic and mental damages to the plaintiff as well as to his family. Relief is sought in the following, girl. And then it lists off a series of violations. Okay, punitive damages on the discretion of the court for willful intent and negating and neglecting the plaintiff's copyright notice that were affixed to his leaked television series Trappin'. Also, defendant Christian Keys also ignored the copyright notices that were affixed to the leaked material and replaced it with a new one under all the Queen's Men. As mentioned above, the statement of claim total copies created are 48, and they were distributed to 8 streaming platforms, making a total of 384 copies under the Title 17 U.S. Code 504 statutory damages. If the infringement was willful, the court can, at its discretion, order relief at $150,000 per infringed work. Okay. Let's read that in slow motion. There were a total copies created that are 48 copies created, and they were distributed to 8 streaming platforms, making a total of 384 copies. $150,000 minimum copyright infringement fee per copy. I believe that the facts stated in these particular of claims are true and sufficient. In the month of March, the named defendant of Tyler Perry Studios will launch their new television series entitled The Queen's Men in the summer of 2021. That is set in Atlanta, based on a book by Christian Keys entitled Ladies' Night. We will analyze Mr. Keys' book in scope, beginning with his registration to the Copyright Office on December 1st of 2014. Mr. Keys made a registration to the Copyright Office for his book, Ladies' Night, a 229-page book with the registration number, making Mr. Keys' book the focus of this copyright claim. The plaintiff isn't disputing the author's claim of his book. He is, however, challenging his validity on his claims of creatorship regarding their television series, All the Queen's Men. What the fuck that means is that Mr. Ledford is saying, since Christian Keys is claiming to be the sole creator of the Queen's Men, which is a rendition, a remix, a version of his original script called Trapping, converted into All the Queen's Men, and that All the Queen's Men is supposed to be an extension and given birth to by Ladies' Night, that 229-page novel by Christian Keys. So that's what Christian Keys is claiming, that All the Queen's Men was birthed out of Ladies' Night novel in 2014. We're going to deeply analyze Ladies' Night to see if any of the concept of the Queen's Men is related to Ladies' Nights. Because if Christian Keys is saying that Ladies' Night book led to the creation and the origin story and led to the trilogy, etc., that became All the Queen's Men, then that should be findable. That should be legitimized. That should be able to be substantiated within Ladies' Nights, the book. Christian Keys isn't even from Georgia, but Mr. Lamont Ledford, Larry Lamont Ledford, is. These characters in All the Queen's Men, this boss lady, this big boss lady, her bounty guard, Mrs. Blue, etc., all these things should be in Ladies' Night. There should be good grounds. You should be able to follow All the Queen's Men based upon the novel Ladies' Night. It goes on to say, in their own words, the defendants are claiming that their story is based on Mr. Keys' book, stating that the story setting is in Atlanta. The setting plays a very important factor in the overall marketability of the movies. In my story, Atlanta not only is the main setting, but it is also where my fictional character, Tammy Johnson, was born and raised. Very critical part of the story, creative expression that is used throughout the plaintiff's story as it relates to the dialogue, and the highly popular entertainment culture in Atlanta. In chapter 1, page 1, fourth paragraph, we see that the main character of Ladies' Night, named Amp, is seen looking out of the rearview mirror in a vehicle. He notices the sign 80, reads California Penitentiary. In chapter 8, first paragraph, line 6, you will discover that the main character was raised in Long Beach, California. After losing his job at a convenience store, he soon meets a beautiful woman named Mary Madame Fox, the owner of a California nightclub called Club Eaton, where she hosts an after-hour event called Ladies' Night, which showcases male strippers. Amp enjoys the money that is being made and decides to join her male review on Ladies' Night as a stripper. This contradicts the defendant's claim that their television setting of being in Atlanta, which shows in actuality page 88, that the story setting and content is in fact Los Angeles, California, as well as the location of Mary Madame Fox's nightclub, Eaton. Now let us analyze Mary Madame Fox. In chapter 9, page 75, beginning at the second paragraph, Amp had been told by one of the gossip bartenders 3 years earlier she was managing the hottest nightclub in town. She booked talent, celebrity hosts, and even came up with the idea to bring in male dancers to put on shows after regular club hours. It became known as the infamous Ladies' Night. Chapter 9, page 76, paragraph 4. Eventually, Madame got fed up and quit the club, convincing the dancers to follow her. Unfortunately, she no longer had a roof for them to perform under. She took every dime she had and brought the building that was the home of Club Eaton. In this chapter, the author does not describe Club Eaton as a strip club. He describes it as a nightclub. He does not describe her as a strip club owner, but a nightclub owner. Very critical as it relates to the plaintiff copyright infringement case. Note, there are no second editions nor revisions in the author's work for several years. What are derivative works? Okay, it goes into describing and defining derivative works, all right? The first derivative work has the protection under the copyright original work. Copyright protection for the owner of the original copyright extends to derivative works. This means that the copyright owner of the original work also owns the rights to the derivative work, all right? Plaintiff created his work. In the year of our Lord 2016, the plaintiff completed his work entitled Trappin', and October 27th of 2018 received his certificate of copyright. Registration number, Trappin' is a 2-part hip-hop television story that are 1-hour episodes. It was to be pitched as a new television franchise for streaming and or regular television programming. In story 2, the plaintiff chronicles the story of fictional character Tammy Johnson, aka Mocha, an African-American female that runs the largest gentleman club in Atlanta called Black Pearl. Her corporation is called Black Pearl Entertainment. She is known as the most influential woman in the entertainment industry and known as the boss of all bosses, beautiful and directed women. That is a very beautiful and direct woman that is very dangerous. Upon sending 2 full episodes, cast of characters, and a copy of my story synopsis to Defendant Dana Thomas in early November of 2018 for a potential network with her, she failed to respond back to me and gave me her word in good faith that it would be confidential. Never heard from her. Fictional character can be protected separately from their underlying works as derivative copyrights, provided that they are sufficient, unique, and distinctive. Fictional character under U.S. law can be protected from their underlying works. Subsection 106 of the Copyright Act of 1976. If the fictional character is central to the story, then it would be copyrightable. In the case of Universal City Studio versus Kamar Industries, this test was applied to hold that E.T. was a distinctive character around whom the story in the movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial revolved. Therefore, the copyright of E.T. was held to enjoyed by Universal Studios, and the defendants were held liable for violating. Okay, so it goes into all that, girl. So, Mr. Larry Lamont is saying, girl, no, ma'am, because All the Queen's Men is set in Atlanta. There's a boss bitch character. She owns a nightclub. She has a female henchman. She runs not a nightclub. Yeah, she runs a nightclub. She has a female henchman, etc. And that in Ladies' Night, Christian Key's story revolves around Los Angeles. But because it's a derivative work from Trappings, which was written apparently by Mr. Ledford in 2016, he's saying there's no way in hell that Christian Keys can make claim that the Queen's Men is birthed out of Ladies' Night, because the setting is different. The character dynamics are almost a copy and paste to the character dynamics out of a Trapping script, etc. And that Christian Keys is failing to make it make sense. How his setting goes from LA to Atlanta. He's not even from Atlanta. The original premise is California. That by the time we get to Queen's Men, it's an entirely different environment. It's an entirely different situation. And a situation that ironically is damn near a Siamese twin to the original work of The Trapping by Mr. Larry Lamont Ledford. Now, I was watching the Hip Hop Inquirer, and he had an attorney over there by the name of Miss Anderson Esquire, okay, who really got into some other things, okay? And this is her synopsis in a nutshell, because I'm going to build off of her synopsis, girl, all right? Larry Lamont Ledford, he developed the Queen's Men, known as Trapping, back in 2016, and went to an entertainment lawyer by the name of Mrs. Cooks, because he was interested in selling and bidding and licensing his project, but wanted to make sure that it was protected legally before hand, And this attorney, Mrs. Cook, stated that she needed to see the material in advance to review it. Therefore, he emailed his copywritten intellectual content and property over to her under the verbal understanding that this would be confidential, okay? Because obviously he didn't need her or anyone else getting a hold of his story and doing what's now being alleged is being done, okay? In that email, it stated that the material is copywritten. Therefore, the attorney knew that the material could not be sold, published, or anything else because it has an official owner already. It's not a street mutt or a neighborhood cat. This doggy has a home and a owner. Now, allegedly, there wasn't an official client-attorney relationship established between attorney Cook and Mr. Ledford, okay? More so a consultation. And after this attorney received Mr. Ledford's material, there was never a follow-up from the attorney. Years went on without any action between the attorney, Mrs. Cooks, and Mr. Ledford, all right? And Mr. Ledford himself, just one day, years after the fact, looked up and found the Queen's Men on streaming networks, okay, of all kind, under Tyler Perry Studios and brand, and the new sole creator allegedly being Christian Keys. Okay, once again, the original title of the project of the Queen's Men was called Trapping, according to Mr. Ledford. Now, according to Christian Keys, Ladies Night, you guys already know, as I stated, it's supposed to be a spinoff or variation of Ladies Night. Yes. Which is a fictional urban romance novel that Christian Keys published back in November of 2014. However, Mr. Ledford could not believe that when his claim was not only that this was his work down to the letter, okay, leaving the only thing to distinguish his work from Christians to be ultimately the titles of both projects, okay? That's how much similarity, and as you guys can read from the lawsuit, it is given very much so, girl. All we did was change names and city and state, but essentially, it's the same fucking story. It's the same dynamics. It's the same relational dynamics. All it seems right now is that Christian Keys changed the mother-loving names and where the story takes place. All right. Mr. Ledford, upon more background information into, more background investigation into the drama, discovered that attorney Dana Thomas Cooks was connected to Tyler Perry Studios and that she developed shows as well because she's an entertainment lawyer. Okay, this is what she does. Now, according to attorney Thelma Anderson, she gave commentary on the matter and believes what I believe, okay, which is that Mr. Ledford's material did, in fact, end up at Tyler Perry Studios, and it's reasonable assumption that it ended up there more than likely through attorney Dana Cooks, which we know was the connection point between Mr. Ledford and Tyler Perry. Now, of course, Mr. Ledford is flabbergasted and feels hoodwinked and bamboozled because he turns around years later and sees his script playing out as a miniseries under Tyler Perry Studios on cable television. And it's one of the biggest shows on BET Plus at that, making everybody rich and famous but Mr. Ledford his goddamn self. Now, apparently, Mr. Ledford had filed this lawsuit, as you guys know, before, and it was dismissed because he didn't receive the notice. He didn't serve the notice properly the first time. The second time around, there were technicalities, and the plaintiff is stating that Tyler and Christian took his original body of work and altered it to create the Queen's Men, and that this shouldn't have been possible when his work was in fact copywritten, citing more than 40 copyright violations in the lawsuit, and apparently there's a minimum of $150,000 for every violation, and there's 40 of them. Okay, Christian produced Ladies Night in 2014. Mr. Ledford claims he produced the Queen's Men, also known as Trapping, in 2016. The Queen's Men comes out in 2020. The show is based in Atlanta. Mr. Ledford is from Atlanta. Christian isn't. What's more likely, okay, because this is what I think happened. And Miss Attorney Anderson was on it too, girl. What more than likely happened is that this attorney, Miss Dana Thomas Cook, entertainment lawyer, works for, or at least is connected to, in bed with, in relationship to, tied to Tyler Perry Studios, passed the script off without Mr. Ledford's permission, of course, to Tyler Perry, who sat on the work, I believe, until Christian Keys brought his script, okay, or his idea to turn Ladies' Night into a mini-series to Mr. Tyler Perry, okay, in which Christian Keys, we already have assumed, did that as a last-ditch effort to make money off of his literary work. And Tyler, as alleged in the lawsuit, used Christian Keys' work as a cover to filter in Mr. Ledford's already pre-existing work as a derivative of Ladies' Night, so that it could make it seem like the copywritten material was actually Mr. Keys, since the script was already similar to Mr. Ledford's work. Now, mind you, Tyler is already known in the business, as we already done went over in previous live streams, to lack ethics in his business practices. And Mr. Keys approaching Tyler was a perfect opportunity for Tyler to kill two birds with one stone, which is to take Mr. Keys up on his offer as another form of an apology from all the shit that went down between 05 and 08, which is all that shit that Christian Keys was talking about in his initial live stream. All right. And not only was taking Christian Keys up on his offer another form of an apology to make sure that Christian Keys didn't run his mouth and could stay in good graces with him, he was also able to hijack this other creator's work, Mr. Ledford's, because he actually saw genuine potential in the literature to be made into a television series. Now, Mr. Ledford is a pro se defendant, okay? He's self-defending, who would be open to winning at least 57 million goddamn dollars as a result of the 37-page show script that's valued, or the 40-page show script that's valued at minimum under copyright law at $150K a motherfucking page. All right. Now, I think that Christian Keys more than likely is innocent. I agree with Attorney Anderson, Esquire. Unless Attorney Donna Thomas Cooks is also tied to Christian Keys. If she's more than likely tied to Tyler Perry, it can be argued she's also tied to Christian Keys. Christian Keys worked for Tyler Perry for years, etc. He's also continued to be in the business. Maybe there's a link between her and Keys. We know that there's an alleged link between her and Tyler. Now, in the alternative, maybe Donna, because no, I think it's Tyler. Let me say this. Considering all the things alleged about Tyler Perry being unethical, having horrible business practices, not being trustworthy, he run with snakes like lion-ass Ozempic taking Oprah, and $2 million money-owing-ass lion Lee Daniels. He runs with shiesty motherfuckers. We know that big wigs and big players don't accomplish anything they accomplish by themselves, just like in the case of R. Kelly. You got the accountant, you got the manager, you got the booking agent, you got all these people who essentially participated in what in fact is a RICO. It's organized crime. Tyler Perry is not snaking motherfuckers allegedly by himself. He will have a whole system in place as well to help him to do the things he's doing, aka also be tied into the legal system, be tied and close to attorneys, etc. And maybe, and this is allegedly, maybe attorney Dana Thomas Cooks Esquire is a part of that secret shadow team of Tyler Perry, who, because she's an entertainment lawyer, which means that she comes into contact with all type of entertainment-based clientele, from writers, to models, to actors, to all type of performers, musicians, producers, etc. Maybe she's somebody who is helping Tyler Perry to outsource maybe not only people who could be potentially compromised, people and entertainers in Atlanta looking for real big opportunity. Isn't that what Christian Keys is subliminally alluding to about said producer billionaire in the industry who just signed deals with Amazon Prime, etc., all things that ironically Tyler Perry is doing, and that fits the bill and characteristics that's going on Knockout Media? So maybe not only is Donna outsourcing new male talent that could be potentially compromised, just like some of the male talent who has proximity to Tyler is alleging. But even more shiesty, she's helping Tyler Perry to sniff up and coming writers and content creators out of their work. She's past, right, Tanya, it takes a whole village. These people don't do nothing. Hey, Stevie, hey, boo. Merry Christmas to you, baby. Love you as well. These people do not do any of this by themselves. They're not alone. There is an entire matrix and system. Just like Beyonce, don't Beyonce by herself. Hairstylists, wardrobists, stage directors, creative directors, writers. No person in power has power alone. There's an entire kingdom that triangulates, incubates, and that makes sure that the resources are endless and accessible. And what this lawsuit is giving is that Miss, and this is, once again, it's all alleged, is that this attorney Cooks is a part of, if not verifiable on paper, if she's not a verifiable employee on paper, that she is somehow tied to the shadow team. Because people in power have an outward team, and then they have a shadow team. Okay, these are not the people that you're going to per se be able to find as employees, etc., on the surface, but on the back end. Once you start doing the paper trailing, etc., you'll be able to connect dots to things. This seems to be who Miss Attorney Cooks is for Tyler Perry. And God only knows how many male talents she thought would be of interest, I'll say that, to Tyler Perry. sent them on through. Tyler might want to check so and so and so and so and out. Sent their emails, their paperwork, their names through. Meetings took place. Boulets took place. Reading scripts in private suites took place. And then before you know it, the concubines accumulated. Okay? But once again, more diabolical. The thieving of intellectual material. So I think Mr. Ledford is on to it. This attorney who probably not only outsourced male talent for Tyler, also outsources for new scripts, new ideas to keep Tyler Perry shit moving, to keep him ahead of the curve, to keep him producing as a content creator consistently. Shiesty shit. Okay, sending over copywritten material, because especially copywritten material by talent who isn't already mainstream, who probably are struggling artists, who probably could not afford to battle Perry out. Even if shit were to hit the fan, they probably could not afford to battle him out in court, etc. These would be the most vulnerable. The desperate talent and the content creator and writers, even if their work was copywritten, who probably were assumed to not have the financial means to even challenge Tyler Perry in court, even if he were to hijack their shit. What's going on, Ms. Chrome? What's going on, Mr. Caldwell? Some of these people are starting to sound like enablers. Look. Money talks, bullshit walks. Now, Mr. Ledford already onto game. And this is where Christian Keys come in at. In terms of he might, in fact, really be innocent. Because based upon what we all done put together now about Tyler and putting what Christian Keys done said, his mentality, look. Christian Keys was eating that balagna and dollar bread. He's still relatively a up-and-coming actor, relatively speaking, to other talents like Taraji P. Henson, Monique, Angela Bassett, etc. Relatively. Okay, he's still new to the block. He wants to build upon Ladies' Night. And then he comes to Tyler Perry with the idea, hey, I want to convert Ladies' Night into a mini television series. You know, we can build off of, you know, this female character, etc. Blah, 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 boom, boom, boom. This club situation with the gigolos. Tyler Perry already sitting on a script. Very similar to what Christian Keys wanting to do. Tyler Perry see this as a double-edged sword that's to his benefit. Of course, Tyler Perry would have every reason to want to work with Mr. Keys, especially if allegedly he's still attracted to him and want him. But for number two, if he knows that Christian Keys and him got tension, and that Christian Keys is a liability because he's holding on to information and experiences that he know Christian Keys could bring to the public square, which would not sit well for Mr. Tyler's reputation. So Tyler Perry has an incentive to appease this bitch. He has an incentive to make sure that Christian Keys is happy, because Christian Keys is a walking diary right now. And so far, he ain't come forward at this point about none of the shit that happened at the event that happened at the sleepover. He ain't come forward about the car yet. He ain't come forward about the $100,000 for nudes. He ain't came forward about none of that. Any smart, intelligent person would, of course, be ready to please. He already has a body of work that Mr. Keys can play off of. Mr. Keys puts his feet in it. He builds off of it. And he's probably over there really thinking that this is his original shit. And that maybe some of these ideas that ended up being similar just came through conversation and not an actual written script that was presented to Keys. Maybe this came as a sit down between him and Tyler. Tyler verbally pitched some ideas like, you know what, let's do this. And since I'm Atlanta based, you know, everybody knows me in Atlanta, and I'll be licensing, you know, the final product you come up with. And I'm building a studio in Atlanta. Let's place the setting from LA to Atlanta. Christian Keys sitting over there have no idea that this information and that these ideas that are being presented to him actually come from another creator's work. He's just at the meeting. She's at the boardroom meeting with Tyler. And Tyler is more than likely behaving as if these are original ideas being birthed off the ladies' night setting, situation, circumstances, etc. See, I can see easily how Christian Keys could have been bamboozled and set up for the okie dokie. And like the lawsuit says, this also helped Tyler Perry to conceal stealing Mr. Ledford's work by pretty much putting the foundation of it in Christian Keys' hands and letting Christian Keys run with the story. He get it copywritten, etc. And then Tyler starts licensing the final product from Mr. Keys. Which is also shysty as hell. Because Tyler Perry essentially threw Christian Keys' ass in front of a moving truck. And we don't even know if this idea came from Tyler himself, because Christian Keys, remember in the interviews, he has worked most closely with Tyler's team. We also don't know what Keys' connection is to attorney Cooks. So once again, could the idea have came from attorney Cooks? And she pitched it to Christian Keys, who, to Christian Keys' point, he had been interested in building off a ladies' night. He had been interested in a mini-series. He had been interested in taking ladies' night to TV, extension of it. Did Miss Cooks initiate this idea and submit these copywritten infringed ideas into Mr. Keys' head, and then that was later collaborated by Tyler Perry, who also apparently is in bed with Miss Attorney Cook? Could this have been triangulating at its best? Could it have been? I'm interested to know the relationship and who, in fact, knows who. Who's giving and talking about what? Or maybe Christian Keys is just a goddamn thief. But what I do know is that it does not make sense for this man, Larry Lamont Ledford, to be coming back again and again and again and again. Something has happened that's not right in the buttermilk. And I believe the sincerity of Mr. Ledford. Mr. Ledford might not know how the fuck, in fact, all this played out and how Christian Keys and Tyler Perry ended up with his shit, but it's given that Mr. Ledford is fighting for something that is a genuine plight to him. It's so many moving parts in this situation alone. You got fucking attorneys. You got Tyler Perry and a whole production team that's an extension of Tyler Perry. You got Christian Keys, a struggling performer and artist and creator. You got Atlanta, which is a small circuit, contrary to popular belief. Atlanta's entertainment, like all entertainment circles, is actually very small. As big as the industry seems, it's actually very small, and everybody kind of knows every motherfucking body. Like you said, CK worked with TP's team, not himself. So we don't know how this information was really disseminated to Christian Keys. We don't know. But like Christian Keys says, even he worked with the team. He scouted for the actors who would play certain roles, etc. He wrote in even certain parts of Tyler Perry's version. There's a lot of moving parts. So I don't know who the fuck Christian Keys is in this situation. I don't know who the fuck Larry Ledford is in this situation. But let me ask y'all, do y'all think Larry Ledford is bullshitting? This is this man's third attempt at trying to help the courts to understand that his shit somehow has ended up as the Queen's men. And that there are striking similarities between his characters and his script, which ended up in the hands of Donna Thomas Cook, entertainment attorney, who's also tied to Perry. And that this woman asked him for his script and then told him that she would get back to him. And then when he followed up with her, you know, because she also responded to, I think, the 2022 suit and claimed that she was just very busy. That's why she never followed up with Christian Keys. So we know, I mean, not Christian Keys, never followed up with Mr. Ledford. So we know that she had the script. We know the script was in her possession. We know that his file was sitting in her database for years after he had given it to her at her request to review before they went any further. They apparently had a verbal agreement that this would be confidential. Now, but that's what I mean, Z. When you pitch, they make you sign a paper saying that you won't sue if they put out something similar, etc. And see, this is the thing about talent, especially melanated creators. Oftentimes, we don't know the business. We only have the raw talent. We don't understand the logistics. We don't understand the law. This is the part of the education that you don't get. All you do a lot of times as melanated talent is you just put your talent out there and you just work your talent. Nobody ever talks to you about the business aspect of your talent. Nobody ever talks to you about trademarking, copyright, and Nobody ever talks to you and explains to you and breaks down to you branding. Most black talent is operating purely off of common sense and raw talent. And this is why so many black content creators get hoodwinked and get taken advantage of and end up in scenarios like the ones that Mr. Ledford is alleging. Now, right, Mr. Ledford has an issue proving, even though his work is also copywritten, etc. Matter of fact, the last two lawsuits were failed attempts, leaving Christian the victor because Mr. Ledford essentially failed to provide adequate proof to support a cause of action regarding his claims, therefore resulting in his case being dismissed without prejudice, which is why Mr. Ledford is able to be free to reinstate or to amend or to refile his claims at a later date, which is why he keeps coming back for round 1 and 2 and 3. Now, I'm going to assume that Mr. Ledford is broke as hell, because why would this be your third attempt self-representing? Why would you not have an attorney at this point? For all I know, maybe Mr. Ledford is on food stamps. He down there to the WIC office, and he just can't afford a decent priced attorney in this economy based upon whatever his financial circumstance is right now. So he's trying his best to self-represent and understand the law for himself. But at this point, bitch, it's time to go sell some ass or do something, girl, in order to make sure that this final attempt is well worth all this energy and backwards and forwards. Because this is his third attempt. But I do not believe that somebody's going to waste their damn time and their energy and the little bit of coin they got at the piggy bank to fight over absolute nothing. There seems to be a reality here, and we cannot lose the fact that there is a connection between this attorney that he gave his work over to, because he was going to work with her to help develop his show, connect him, etc. And that attorney, Mrs. Cook, happened to also be connected to Tyler motherfucking Perry. But for all we know, she also was connected to Mr. Christian Keys. Once again, entertainment circles are very small. And if this is somebody who's tied to Tyler and Christian Keys is also tied to Tyler, it can also be reasonably assumed that Attorney Cooks and Christian Keys also have ran together, met one another, or even done business together, or have some type of a rapport and or some type of a relationship. But considering that Mr. Keys appears to be very genuine in his plight, I want to give him the benefit of a doubt and say that it's possible that Christian Keys has been bamboozled as well. But he may, in fact, be a goddamn thief. I don't motherfucking know. I don't want to believe that. Christian Keys don't give me that, per se. But it's called deception for a reason, right? Typically, the people doing the most don't give you the most. I believe this man could prove. He just isn't clear about how to do so. He needs an attorney to educate him, because he the one who keeps coming. It's clear that Mr. Ledford don't understand how this goes, which is why he keeps coming back over and over and over again, but he's failing. So it's given to me that he just don't know what the fuck he's doing, which is why he needs an attorney. Yes, he does. It does matter if he has an attorney. Your attorney is going to do all the things you don't know to do, and is going to extract from you all the things you don't know need to be extracted for you in order for you to have a solid motherfucking case and to get your 57 million goddamn dollars. He needs a goddamn attorney because Mr. Ledford is 3 times in after already 2 failed attempts. And this man is so adamant that he refiled his lawsuit 20 days after his second attempt at a lawsuit was dismissed under failure to state a claim. He clearly don't know what the hell that means. And if he doesn't get an attorney, he's going to end up burning himself out. And then possibly, as a result of being burnt out, giving up on a plight, a genuine plight he might in fact actually have. So, baby, you need to go sell your daddy car, auction off your mama good fine china in order to get a legal fee going. Because you'll be able to do that and then some if you win your situation. And it's clear to me that Tyler and Christian ain't paying Mr. Ledford no mind because they know that he don't know what the fuck he doing. And that he's broke. And that he don't have the resources. He gonna fight for his shit like any fucking black man is. Like any black person is, baby. Right, wrong, and indifferent, baby. You gonna fight, baby. Bloody, bruised, and all. But he's not effective. And I just have to assume it's because his economic situation is not allowing him to do so. Attorneys are expensive. Fighting at this level is costly. And it requires a few $1,000s just to put down to retain a lawyer. I don't know whether he's clever enough to, because if I was Mr. Ledford and I was broke as hell and I knew my shit was up there being plagiarized, what I would start doing is now telling my story. I would go to social media, start revving up the story, start interviewing with podcasters and influencers, and then see if I could attract the attention of an attorney who could do some pro bono work for me. Because there are a lot of clout chasing ass attorneys who would love to jump on a situation involving celebrities. I mean, shout out to Brian L. Disbarred Ponder. It's some thirsty ass attorneys out there. The thirst is real, baby. Okay? Shout out to Brian Ponder, who got on the radar of Unhinged, got on the radar of Bishop, a criminal head Grill. Start telling your fucking story. Utilize social media for what it is. Get the word out, what you're trying to do, what didn't happen to you, and get one of these thirsty ass attention-seeking attorneys, baby, to jump on the bandwagon and start representing you. They would love the clout. I think that Mr. Ledford is very old school. Because look at Mr. Ledford. Mr. Ledford does look like a man who's not really tapped into the culture. I mean, his picture isn't, he has a black and white image loaded to his Twitter account, for God's sake. And this shit looked like it was taken on a family Polaroid camera, girl. Okay, it's giving very much so World War II. Very much so giving Vietnam veteran. Okay, it is not giving me a man who's, up on tech. This is not giving me a person who knows how to really, hustle and bustle like that. It's just like, girl, look at the fit. It looked like his mama dressed him. No shade, no tea to Mr. Ledford. But it looked like mama dressed him. I think this man need help straight from the gates. saying he just don't know what the hell he doing. He needs some resources. He needs some people with smart parts on his side. Okay? We need to find this man and make sure he okay. Because, girl, why are you running back to the court 10 days after your last case was terminated, refiling again as if throwing the same shit up against the same wall in the same way in which you did the first 2 times is going to get you a different result, baby. It's given I'm playing basketball all by myself on the court. Why is you doing it? Unless there's something else cerebral, you know, in the cerebral that's lacking. Maybe he rode on a very, very tiny bus. Maybe. But considering that he out here writing scripts and shit, girl, you know, he's very gifted. Right, Tanya? A lot of folk will love this case. Now, Christian Keys, this is what triggered his ass off. Because if Christian Keys have had to utilize, he been in litigations and fighting and have had this man come for his shit for the past 3 years. Once again, we know Christian Keys is a minority actor, which means that just like Monique and just like Miss Taraji, girl, he also coming out of a pandemic. He's also coming off of a writer's strike. And I'm sure the last thing he wants to do is be using his money to have to fight a nigga in court over some shit that he genuinely believes is his. Christian Keys and Ledford probably 2 sides of the same coin and have been inadvertently pitted against each other because of the shystiness and the backhandedness and the pussy popping of Miss Perry, who trying to kill multiple birds with one stone. Utilize this script, but at the expense of Mr. Ledford, in order to double down on an apology to Mr. Christian Keys for shit that happened back in 05 and 08. And now the rooster done came back to motherfucking roost and everybody ass tied up in goddamn court. Because of Tyler Perry playing the motherfucking middle. I can believe that Christian Keys is innocent. He got hoodwinked by a desperate ass Tyler Perry, allegedly, that probably wanted proximity to him again, but also once again needed to double down and put some insurance on Christian Keys shutting his motherfucking mouth, which is maybe where attorney Dana Cooks comes in at to help pitch some ideas to Mr. Keys about a TV miniseries, leaving once again Mr. Keys to develop off of the keynotes provided to him either by Tyler or Tyler Perry's team or Miss Donna Cooks, who may already know Christian Keys from way back when, or just through, you know, his years of being in the industry. He's been in the industry since 05. This leaves a large amount of time for Miss Cooks and Keys to eventually come into contact, especially when they already have a connect point, which is Tyler Perry. Once again, we don't know the ins and outs, girl, of how the trapping and its script ended up in Christian Keys' hands, because either Christian Keys knew what he was doing and he's a part of the triangulating boule, girl, or he was used by a bunch of people with ulterior motives. And he just done been caught up in the eye of the storm, just like Mr. Ledford. And now that I think about it, I feel safe resting on that. I think Christian Keys is innocent. I think Mr. Keys and Mr. Ledford actually are in this thing together. And actually, if Christian Keys had any damn sense before Mr. Ledford fucks around and find his ass a Johnny Cochran bitch and take both Tyler Perry and Christian Keys' pussy from him, he might need to reach out to Mr. Ledford personally. And they have a real honest, nuanced conversation to figure out how this happened. Because if Christian Keys actually is innocent, and he knows he's innocent, if he knows I ain't sold nobody shit as far as I'm concerned, this is my original shit as far as I know, if that's the truth, I don't see why he should have an issue sitting down with Mr. Ledford. Why not? Because clearly something happened in the middle. Something is happening in the eye of the storm. Clearly, somebody hoodwinked and bamboozled the shit out of both parties. And if they would take time to sit down and have a thorough ass conversation about the sequence of events, they would be able to do the math and figure out how 1 + 1 = 2. And then Christian Keys could possibly get his goddamn lick back by teaming up with Ledford after they come to an understanding that they both were triangulated and utilized for the greater evil and for selfish gain by other parties and principalities. See, that's the thing I don't like about good people. Good people don't know how to utilize the same manipulative principles to get righteous work done, baby. Okay, I'm of the belief that just like the enemy comes as a wolf in sheep's clothing, sheep need to learn how to also imitate wolves in order to revert, to deflect, to weaponize the system against itself. What I don't like about good ass people is y'all motherfuckers too soft and you want to leave everything in the hands of God, and God like, bitch, well, what you leaving it in my hands for, Moses? I gave you a rod. The rod of deception, the rod of cleverness, the rod of manipulation, the rod. What the fuck you mean? What you looking at heaven for? Just take these people's principles and utilize them against the system. They already showing you how to work it. You just take the same shit and work it righteously. You use those same principles righteously. The game already done been told, baby. The tutorial already being given to us. By the unrighteous. They are our tutorers. The evil, the wicked, the Illuminati, the Black Boule, they already playing this thing out line by line. All we doing is occupying. All we doing is taking the same script and utilizing it to sit in the seats of power, but through a righteous context. Christian Keys and Mr. Ledford don't know what the hell they doing. Both of them emotional. Christian Keys just spazzing out, getting drunk off Bologna and brown liquor. And Mr. Ledford keep knocking on the court's door as if he's begging his mama for permission to go outside after she already done told his ass no an hour ago. Neither one of them don't seem to be operating at a heightened level of intellectualness. Both of them seem to be lacking some war tactic here. Right, Scotty Saturn, you just reverse engineering the shit. The same thing we do with UFO technology, baby. We just reverse engineering. The blueprint already here. What we talking about? It's time to work, bitch. When God said, Moses, teach your people how to fight. Fight with what? All the goddamn weapons of Pharaoh's army washed up on the shore for the Israelites. God literally transferred the weapons of the enemy and made them the weapons of the righteous and told them niggas to get in formation. So, Ledford, Christian, what we doing here? Baby, y'all supposed to be on one assignment. Y'all supposed to be, this supposed to be a collaborative effort. All this could have already been dissolved. But y'all just coming together, and either y'all ain't did that because y'all both idiots, or somebody amongst the two ain't right either. Now, it could be argued that Mr. Ledford is just a clout-chasing ass weirdo out of Atlanta trying to make a case out of nothing. His picture is in black and white. It does look like his mama dressed him. It does look like he ride on a bike with a helmet on. He could be a fanatic trying to get a payoff, girl, eating balagna and motherfucking cherry Kool-Aid, girl. Stranger things have happened. But this lawsuit is pretty well written, and this man does have copywritten body of work, and the attorney already done corroborated the fact that she in fact did receive a script from this man that she never followed up on because she was, busy throughout the years rubbing her coochie. So we know that there's tea here on Mr. Ledford's side. We know that there's a legit claim. He has a foundation for a legit claim. All it takes, once again, is for him and Mr. Keys to sit their asses down and figure out how the fuck this has happened. And it ain't one but one common denominator. Now, let's move it along. You guys know everybody and their mama been hitting me up, and a industry insider gave me some interesting tea and directed me in a certain direction. And that led me to Mr. Caston Carter. I want you guys to hear this out. This is very fascinating. Caston Carter was initially told to me by my source to have been a talent that was coming up around the mid-late 2000s. He never quite popped off. All right. And he was like big in the male calendar sector of the industry. Okay. As you guys can see here, he's giving body, yaddy, 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 toddy. Okay. And as a little bit of background on Mr. Caston Carter. Okay, this is coming from celebmancrushblog.wordpress.com. Mr. Caston Carter is an actor model who appeared on the first season of VH1's What Chili Wants. Okay, Chili from TLC. Apparently, he was a male contestant over there for her desperate ass. Okay. His pictures have run rampant and viral all over the internet over the past 2 decades. He was also featured in Essence magazine as the single man of the month in the November 2009 issue. Okay, he quickly made a name for himself in commercials, independent films, and print work. Caston was born on the island of Trinidad and moved with his family to New York City when he was just 4 years old in a short 2-year period. Carter has amassed millions of dedicated fans through his calendars, which sold over 200,000 units in 2008. He has well over 1 million hits on his website, CastonCarter.com. Caston plays the lead role of Virgil Cunningham in the movie Liquid Rush, a suave, debonair guy who worked his way up from the streets of New York to corporate America. Now, there was an alleged bizarre incident that took place between Mr. Keston Carter. Hold on. I ain't even look at my phone. Hold on, y'all. Let me check this message from one of my moderators. Hold on. All right. So, girl, there was an alleged bizarre incident that took place between Mr. Keston Carter. All right. Now, Keston Carter allegedly at one point was contacted by Tyler Perry's team because Tyler Perry was interested in doing some work and business with him. He wanted to feature Mr. Carter in a series, in a movie, in a play. He wanted to do some work with Mr. Keston, and we can see clearly why, baby. Who doesn't want to do work with Mr. Carter? Well, Mr. Carter took, obviously, Mr. Perry up on his offer to be flew out so they can discuss business. Well, once Mr. Carter had landed and was picked up by Tyler Perry's alleged driver on the way to his hotel, for which the business meeting would take place the next day, a bizarre conversation between Tyler Perry's driver and Mr. Keston happened all the way during the commute from the airport to Mr. Keston's hotel. That conversation entailed probing Mr. Carter about his sexuality, probing Mr. Carter about his relationship status, about his interest in men, whether he was bisexual, pansexual, all of these questions that seemed very inappropriate to Mr. Keston, very unprofessional, very unbecoming. And it was just weird. Mr. Keston just found these questions to be very bizarre. Like, why is this driver, just digging off into my personal life and asking me these inappropriate questions about my sexuality? Now, of course, because, this is connected to a big wig, Mr. Keston is not going to make it awkward, because he's not wanting to blow his opportunity. But what he would soon realize is that he had already had blown his opportunity when he had expressed in that conversation with the driver that he was straight. He had no interest in men. He has never been with men, will never be with men. And that I think actually he was in a relationship at the time. It was very much so committed and in love. And guess what happened? By the time Mr. Carter got back to his hotel, before the night ended, Mr. Carter received a phone call from Mr. Perry's team that the meeting was all of a sudden called off and that they would be remaining in contact. Mr. Carter was packed the fuck up the next day and shipped the fuck out, baby. He came into the city and left as quickly as he landed. And it is believed that it was the information divulged in that dialogue between Mr. Carter and Tyler Perry's driver that led to this business meeting all of a sudden being canceled in the last minute after Hotel had been booked. Flights had been booked. This stuff was already in motion. And that this driver allegedly disseminated that information to Tyler Perry. And Mr. Carter did not fit the bill. He didn't fit the easily impressionable, will do anything for clout and fame, could be bought. He had too much of a strong sense of self and identity. And considering how well built this man is, Tyler Perry knew that not only did Carter have a strong will, but he had the goddamn muscle mass to put his ass into a 27-day coma if he tried him between his goddamn booty meat, the way that it was alleged one did when it came to Christian Keys. Okay? This man is tall, statuous, and well built. This is a whole ass whipping right here. Okay, he might be pretty, and he might be light-skinned, brown-skinned girl, but this is nonetheless an entire ass whipping. So these stories of Tyler Perry vetting, scouting for a certain type of male talent with a certain genophenotype, with a certain sex appeal, with a certain body, yada, yada. When they say Tyler got a type, you can even see here the similarities between Christian Keys. Pretty boys, well-built, bodied, face card never declines. And going back to this whole situation, even with Donna Thomas Cook Esquire, this also shows how much of a system there possibly is that is assisting the big wig. You have attorneys involved. You have drivers, once again, booking agents. You have other actors. You have other producers, photographers, talent scouts, etc. They're all in bed together. Creating a whole government system. Creating a whole web of entanglement. Passport Bros, the man we said that a friend of mine said this years ago that you can tell by looking at Tyler Perry's plays that he likes men, or the type of men that he likes. Because he always say that the women look raggedy as hell, but the men always are meaning. All the dudes have the same skin color and look. I think Christian Keys did something with Medea that he ain't proud of, and that's why he's struggling in the bed, crying and shaking. And you guys know we entertained that as well. That, look, because I've been thinking, you know, Christian Keys was on the edge of his seat in that commentary. You know, he was talking about what he was going to do. I'm going to the police. I'm going to do something. He's yet to do any goddamn thing. Aside from being under blog posts, fighting and windmilling with other viewers. And I said then that the reason why Christian Keys may be holding back is because, in fact, he knows he would have to speak to and answer to and possibly have certain things that he may have, in fact, allowed himself to do in the name of money, in the name of his career, that he's still ashamed of. And maybe that's the part of this shit that he ain't reconciled yet. He would be exposing himself. And I think, and certain things that Christian was saying about, like, even when he was like, he kind of went on a little homophobic rant, like, You know, I don't get down like that. God made women, but then he tried to clean it up later by saying, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. And I got gay friends and I done took a gay couple out to dinner and shit. It's given that if there have been experiences that he has had with men, that he ain't clear about what that means about his sexuality, even though he's clear maybe that he did not want those things. He didn't want to have to do those things. A lot of men, a lot of hobosexuals and gay for pay guys, sometimes they are so hell-bent on whatever they're trying to get materially by laying it low, spreading it wide, or being face down, ass up, that even though they will still perform gay acts in order to get their bills paid, or in order to get the new iPhone, or in order to get a roof over their head, or in order to get to the next step in the audition line to get a clock from Flavor Flav, that they still would do those things and be conflicted about their orientation and not really know what that means about them. So Christian Keys, one of the reasons he may not have come forward is because of just that. I think Christian Keys is really triggered by Tyler Perry because I think that these lawsuits over the past 3 years from Mr. Ledford have probably put Christian Keys in a position to do what we all doing. He probably realizes, wait, I probably have been hoodwinked and bamboozled. Some of the ideas I had for the Queen's Men did come out of members of Tyler Perry's camp, if not his direct camp of writers. These ideas came from people who I knew were in relationship to Tyler, possibly Miss Attorney Donna Thomas Cooks. And maybe deep down, Christian Keys knows that what Mr. Ledford is alleging is true to an extent, except that he himself, Christian, is innocent, which only makes matters worse because he now knows that, bitch, not only are you trying to hoodwink and seduce black men into these compromising positions for a higher opportunity in the industry, and I've been traumatized by being a victim of that shit, but on top of that, I was going to let you live and try to just let bygones be bygones and do business with you, but you fucked around and now done put me in a position with the Queen's Men to now have somebody claiming that this is not my sole creation, fighting over copyright infringement. And if this man fuck around and get with the right people who know how to help him to defend his case and show up with the things he needs to show up with, I may have to pay this man millions of dollars out and then have to publicly answer for this shit. And you got me out here looking like a motherfucking thief in the night. Christian Keys did that live stream on the 16th. Mr. Ledford's lawsuit was filed November the 30th. 16 days after Mr. Ledford files his third lawsuit against Tyler Perry Studios and Christian Keys. Christian Keys boils over, goes live. He can't take it anymore because in the interim of lawsuits coming and going, wrapping up, coming and going again, Cassie's lawsuit happens. And remember, Christian Keys says, I'm inspired. Because he watched essentially Diddy do Cassie the way he himself is being done by somebody he trusted and admired, who's dangling his career over his head and put him in all these fucked up ass predicaments, not only as a victim of so-called an alleged sexual harassment, but on top of that, you got me tangled up, bitch, in some legalities around ownership of a series that I put my real brain to. And yes, I might have had the assistance and aid of other creators and visionaries when it came to developing. But I had no idea that those things extended to me were being extended to me unethically. That the ideas y'all were giving to me to build upon, to incorporate, the alterations, etc., that y'all were using another creator's copywritten work just to keep me quiet and to get me back in cahoots and get back in proximity to me. So you damn right, Christian Keys mad as motherfucking all hell. Because he got Ledford coming for his neck under the impression that you stole my shit. He got Tyler Perry, who ultimately allegedly done put him in the middle of this shit on top of all the badass history they already got going on. But to the audience's point, Christian Keys ain't talking still. He ain't did shit. He ain't filed no police report. He ain't released no audios. And that could imply foul play on Christian Keys' part. We have to consider that maybe it's not that Christian Keys compromised himself sexually for career advancements. It's possible that he may in fact have more to do and know more about Mr. Ledford's claims than what he's leading on. And the only thing that's saving Christian Keys' ass is the fact that Mr. Ledford don't know how to defend his plight legally. And maybe that's why Christian Keys don't want to press the gas on Tyler. Maybe not because of no sexual shit, but possibly because his hands might be a little dirty. Maybe the fact that he too is a little shiesty when it comes to smaller talent. After all, he learned from the best. Because there's a reason why Christian Keys' ass ain't talking. He talked a good game on that live, baby. He tried to convince you that he was going to get his ass up off that chair right after that live wrapped up and haul his ass right on down that he was not playing no motherfucking games. But he ain't pulled that trigger yet. That pen he said he had as evidence might be the same goddamn pen he used to also write another artist's and writer's content into his shit. And he knows that Tyler knows it. He knows it. And everybody else in the goddamn eye of the storm motherfucking know it. So he would look a damn fool trying to incriminate Tyler over some shit when there are plenty of things for he himself to be incriminated over. Because there is, at this point, no real legit reason for him to have made those promises, threaten, and claim he had evidence that he's at his wit's end and that the world needs to know. And yet, silk lips. And now you got people saying he may not even ever do anything because he might have already been paid off. Possibly. Christian Keys might have been paid off. Or Christian Keys cannot reconcile the blood on his hands. Whatever that blood is. And maybe Tyler Perry ain't pressed over Christian Keys' ass because Tyler know what that blood is. He know and calling Christian Keys bluff. And so far, whoever Christian Keys is talking about is calling Christian Keys bluff right. Because there has yet to be, he's yet to act on any of the promises he made to the public. This is what having your back up against, if having your back up against the wall was a person. All right. Now, they're also saying that Tyler Perry is not showing up on set. He's not showing up for work. That he's Skyping in his goddamn performances, girl, like Beyonce at the BET Awards. And rightfully so, he's trending alongside power bottoming TD Jakes, allegedly. He would look a damn fool to come in there acting like there isn't a whole elephant in the room, girl. That he's been accused of being a goddamn R. Kelly girl, okay? He would be a goddamn fool to come in there ordering goddamn, you know, a demands out and shit. As if his ass not out here trending alongside TD Jakes, girl. So rightfully so, girl. They're saying, girl, Miss Tyler is not, girl. He's sending the assistants for the assistant director, girl, to operate in his place right now. Caston Carter is apparently one of many men who were attempted to be recruited by Tyler Perry. Y'all know Storm Monroe just had his industry insider related him a story about Lance Gross, who was also tried and who was also a part of Tyler Perry Productions, who allegedly was physically approached and tried by Tyler and took Tyler ass off his feet. There are concubines coming out of camps with their receipts. My question to y'all is, how do y'all think the receipts and the facts will impact, let's say, Tyler Perry and or TD Jakes? Do y'all think that this would be the beginning of the end? Matter of fact, let me drop the link. I'm going to drop the link. Moderators, if y'all don't mind on this beautiful Christmas to rotate the link. Anybody want to come up and add the 2 piece and a biscuit to the situation? Let me shout out my baby mothers for the old nasty piece of cash app. Shout out to my baby mother, Anya, my beautiful moderator. Rumors and tea for happy holidays. We're working, period. Thank you, baby mother. Shout out to my baby mother, Joyce, for happy holidays. Thank you, baby mother. Love you. God bless the family. If anybody got hypothesis, girl, what do y'all think? Is this the beginning of the end? Crone says when that Epstein list comes out, it's over. Anyone calls a lot of folks face on that list, I believe. Yeah. We know that Chris Tucker is on Epstein's flight logs. Naomi Campbell is also on Epstein's flight logs. We already know Bill Clinton. We know presidents. There's a few notable people that we are already aware of that are on those flight logs. And we're going to be getting into Miss TD Jakes. Bill Gates. Definitely the beginning of the end, in my opinion. But his situation is totally different than Cassie's. He has to prove it's non-consensual. Tyler Perry fucked either way. Because if this is who he's talking about, and there's good reason clearly to believe that he is talking about Tyler Perry, there's more than likely going to be a lot of people who have been tried, not successfully inducted, but tried, like Mr. Keston Carter, who are more than likely going to come out and corroborate Christian Key's situation. We've already seen that when it comes to high-profile people, usually they ain't done this one time, and there's a onslaught of individuals who are able to corroborate certain things. What's going on, Bala? Can you hear me, love?
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Hi.
No, I just want to say, hi, how are you? Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
No, I just wanted to say, they all coming down. From movie to music to big pharma companies, the government, they all are coming down. All of them. And it's about time.
Do you think the public is ready?
I would say yes and no. Because a lot of their faves, people that they look up to, you know, for example, like Will Smith and Jada, people thought that was like couple goals. Look what happened. I think, like I said, yes and no. Because they're going to be very, very, very surprised. You know? I live in Miami. You know, people in Miami seeing some things. I'm gonna leave it at that.
How do you feel about the people who are going to say they're bringing down people who are employing the Black community and people who are providing jobs for Black families? And how do you feel about the people who are going to be angry at some of these really notable, beloved figures as Christian Keys hints to, you know, coming under fire and being sat down and having their legacies ultimately ruined?
Well, first of all, this is just my opinion. What community do we have? And you have all these powerful people who's supposed to be the pillars or, you know, be the role models. And look what's coming out. Look what they have been doing. What legacy? A legacy of hurting, terrorizing people? What legacy do they have? And of course, there's going to be some people like, you know, they're going to be like, oh my God, they're going to try to bring the Black man down. But the Black man reached to the top. Look what they did. And it trickled down to even innocent people. Innocent young men and women. So what community? Every time I hear the word our community, I'm like, where? What community do we have? These people are supposed to be at the top and supposed to be helping us at the bottom to get to the top. But instead, they're hurting and destroying. What community? What is Oprah doing? What is Tyler Perry? They're up there. Look at what P. Diddy was doing. Look at what the other Sean, Jay-Z's doing. Come on. So people need to wake up and really see that these people are human beings. And unfortunately, the industry that they chose to be in, instead of using that for positive, they use it for negative. It's time to wake up. Like I said, I live in Miami. People in Miami seen a lot. A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
A lot.
Okay, you know, as I'm sorry. I was going to say, when I was, you know, teenager, young adults, I would audition for, you know, commercials. You know, that's where you kind of start, you know, sign up with the modeling agencies. And you go on a casting call and you get, okay, they pick you, right? And then you show up and you have to audition and then they pick you. Then you have these meetings and blah, 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 blah. I've walked off of 2 sets and I said, this is not for me. Because what was said in those meetings, because, you know, you go through a lot of different meetings that tell you, okay, what the set is going to be looking like and so forth and so on for those that's been there. And then you get to the set and it's not what they said. I was not going to be caught in a thong at 17 years old. Not with my mama. I mean, look at the commercial, for example. Remember that old Nair commercial when the girls was like, who wears shorts or some crap like that. Remember that commercial? Go back and look at it and see how short those shorts were. Look at the Fanta commercial. Remember Fanta? Look at what they're wearing. That's why I walked off. I said, this ain't for me. It's either you play the game or you're out. So none of this to me is surprising because, you know, some people are connected, some people in the industry, and it's not for everybody. So nobody should be surprised. Just be prepared to see your faves come down like Will Smith and so many others. Whether they are preachers that you adore and you watch on television. Listen, why CDJs at an all-white party? We all know what goes down in an all-white party. Come on, people. It's right there. They do it in your face. It's in your face. Just open your eyes. Stop looking at these people. Stop worshiping these people. Because majority of people, they just think about money. I wish I had this money. I wouldn't be struggling. But let me tell you something. From somebody who comes from actual wealth and had a mother like mine, who in the 80s made $38,000 to $4,000 a week. In the 80s. Lived in a beautiful home in a rich area, but nobody knew what was behind those closed doors. That's why mansions and stuff, it doesn't do anything for me. Because when I see, oh my God, look at them, oh my God. You don't know what goes on behind those doors. Cassie just told y'all. Jaguar's telling y'all. Open your eyes. That's what I have to say about that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Well, more so a statement.
Okay.
Matter of fact, keep talking real quick. Keep talking.
Okay. Like I said, it's money. That's all they care about. They don't care about people. It's all about money. Who wants to be on top? Who wants to have the most money? It's even a competition between themselves. And they all participate. They look at each other or like they're friends. They're not really friends. It's all about the money. It's all about making connections. And people, you have to start opening your eyes. It's right there. It's right there in your face. It's not like they hide it. It's right there. The symbolisms are right there. They show it. Stop worshiping these people. They're people who make right and wrong decisions just like we do. And this has to come to an end. Because a lot of people, especially young people, start to be like these people, not knowing what these people have to do to get to their position. Yes, there are some celebrities that take the long route. They're not, big on the movie screens or whatever. But the majority of them, gotta do what you gotta do to get there. And it is what it is. Like I said, including our favorite people, whether they be ministers or pastors, whether they're movies, music, government, it's all connected. So the only thing I could tell you guys is just like really open your eyes and just look and just like prepare yourself mentally for your faves to be exposed, because it's going to happen. And I just there was a notification that I got. They were saying that Cassie has given the FBI all of Kim Porter's cell phone and
Hey, Bala.
Yes.
Hold that statement super quick, okay?
Okay.
Just remember that and stay right there. Y'all, I had want to bring a certain conversation into the equation due to what Bala is talking about. I have Dr. Reed on the phone. Hi, Doctor. Merry Christmas.
Hi, Merry Christmas. Y'all need to be bringing your family Merry Christmas.
I got them.
Everybody go with your family or wherever you fucking. And go and have a merry, happy Christmas. And let mine alone. I'm here with 100 people trying to have Christmas, and y'all is calling me, asking me questions.
Because we got hundreds of folk with the cane. Okay. So me and Bala were talking about the industry, and I was about to make an emotional. I was gonna add a variable that I think is not considered as well. Not that this is an excuse for bad behavior for people at the top, but do people consider the fact that money and power may actually do something psychologically to human beings that may be unnatural, that's not being accounted for?
Yeah, it's not maybe. It happens to everybody. Money and power. Power is it can trigger a psychosis almost, because it makes you feel like you're on top, but the truth about the top is that it is not. So anyone that feels like they're at the top, they're already under an illusion and just a couple of steps away from a mental illness, which can make them begin to be erratic in their decision making, and then make bad choices to just fulfill their lust, their desire, and their drives. It just happens with power, or the power that money gives you. It always happens. People just don't talk about it. So if you got undealt with trauma, undealt with issues on the inside, and you end up in a position of power or money, then the worst of you, or rather the broken of you, is going to come up. Yeah. And anything broken cuts others.
So last question. Do you think that even for healthy people, that certain heightened levels of wealth and power also can do something cataclysmic even to a healthy minded person in the industry? Or do you think it's all a pre-existing?
It's mostly pre-existing. And so when people get into those positions of power, then they end up the way that it is. But you can be a healthy person and still be challenged by what comes from power. But it won't manifest in a way to where it ends up harming others. It typically manifests when it's like that. It manifests when you harming yourself.
Got it. That was good input. I just wanted to have you do that. Well, thank you for that, Dr. Reed. I have to bring you on to have a more in-depth discussion. Merry Christmas and love you.
All right, Merry Happy Christmas to all y'all, whoever you love. Go spend time with them, all right?
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, you guys. I just wanted to insert that because it's a lot of conversations going on right now around people in profound power. Bala, what do you think about that? Because I know it's easy for people at the bottom, or people who are not at a certain economic, or not at a certain who don't have any power, to just be ignorant maybe to what in fact happens, and because there's a lot of philosophy around power, and whether power is something that should ever be in the hands of a single person, which makes me consider if power and wealth has a unnatural impact on the human psyche. And we just don't know that, because nobody is even exploring that from that perspective and from that angle. And like Dr. Reed said, you consider people have pre-existing trauma, that stuff gets very escalated upon a certain level of visibility and access. But what do you think about that?
Well, I would agree, because I look at my mother. She was so engulfed in the power and the money. She came from money. My dad was not gonna say his name. Was a world famous athlete, and the power that she held, carrying his name, the power of the money, and what we had to go through as the children. We always had to look perfect, and that's why I look at these celebrity kids that was look so perfect in the best name, the name brand clothes, and always look perfect. But there's a psyche behind that as well, as I speak from my experience, because we always had to look perfect. My mother only shopped at like Saks or Bloomingdale's, those type of places in Bell Harbor. So when I would go to school, which my school was in the hood because back then it was like zoning was big. And you have the bullies who tried to bully me. Where did you get that? Where did you get that? And I would have to lie, you know, and say I got it from here or there, because I would hear my peers, you know, when they would ask each other about, well, where did you get the outfit? So I would like really write down the names of these stores or whatever. So yes, it is. It's that power they get. It does something to them, you know, and they have the money, the connections, and they think they're above. They think they're above. So yes, it is. It is very much.
So let me tell you something. I think the greatest temptation, Bala, that any man or woman can have is when they're in a position to do anything that they can imagine.
Yep.
And will they is the question. And I think that is a position that most people will never be able to relate to being in, is having the world essentially in the palm of their hand, being able to have endless resource that can lead to endless experiences. And what does a person, and will a person do who is in a position to do anything? I mean, you know, that does not at all justify bad behavior, but it makes me question if there is something unnatural that happens once again to human psychology and to the human conscious when it's given certain things, you know, and this kind of is illustrated even in the Genesis story with Adam and Eve as a mythology, where God, you know, told them, stay away from that thing over there. You're not ready for that. You're not ready for that. You're not at a maturity for that. You know, that's going to be there, but you need to stay your ass away from it.
Yeah.
And then we saw what happened when they tried to afford themselves something that they were not capable of handling.
Yes.
And I think it is a true measure. And I feel, you know, because nobody ever gets taught about power. That's what's interesting too, is that everybody gets encouraged to go for all the money, go for all the success, go for the highest position, go for the greatest good. But nobody even understands what that environment, what those resources, what that space also, how that space also impacts our morality, what position it puts our morality in. It doesn't, nobody talks to you about how your level of discipline needs to be equal to that which is afforded to you. Because in order for you to keep yourself, you got to deepen your disciplines, especially as you come into more. Because if you don't, you may fall prey to the power. You may fall prey to the situation. I think I even heard Larry say one time when he was talking about somebody years ago, I think he was talking about a pastor, and he said something equivalent to, he said the reason that he believes a lot of these pastors fall victim to their shenanigans is because a lot of them have their materialized escalated, but do not escalate their consecration equally, do not escalate their relationship to God, do not escalate their relationship essentially to ethics equal to what they're coming into. Because you can't take an ethics that exists on the second floor and think that it's going to be able to defend you on the 10th floor. That you have to deepen your sense of self and your integrity and your character in order to sustain your integrity. Because if you don't do that, you're going to fuck around and find yourself shooting a water gun at a bear, essentially, and then wonder why all your shit is collapsing because of things that you just did not develop deeper disciplines to. I think that looking at what's happening to a lot of the people that's in prominent positions of power and just seeing how they're falling from grace so shamefully, that there's a lot that we can learn about power ourselves and coming into power, and how to improve our own humanity as we ourselves contemplate being people who also want to be in positions of influence, want to be in positions of wealth, etc. And to understand that your persons will be shown approved by way of the rite of passage of coming into wealth and visibility, and that you really have to have your inner shit together. And it's very interesting for people to make money into a god, because money rules our society.
Yes, it is.
We don't want to do nothing without getting paid. We don't want to do anything without it being transactional. So we are already cultivated, you know, from the earliest inception to idolize and make a god out of money. It's attached to your livelihood. It's attached to the quality of your livelihood. It's attached to the equity put on you as a person, your significance, what you mean to a community, what you mean to a family, what you mean to people. There's all this stuff that the ego is attracted to, that's attached to money and equity and fame. And I think that this shit turns certain people out for sure. But unfortunately, some of these people have already fallen victim, and the collapse of the glass ceiling is going to be hardcore. It's going to be hardcore.
Yeah. The excuse me. The thing about power is intoxicating. So when they're at the top, they don't think about falling, because in their mind they have so much power. They don't think about it. Stepping on someone is nothing to them because of the power. So now when that power is pulled away from them and they start to fall, sometimes it causes a little bit of confusion, because they're like, wait, no, I'm this person, and I know this person, I know this person. So they get caught up in the intoxication of it all. Because I look at it, like I said, the connections that, you know, my mother had, and the power just was, she thought she was just untouchable. And up to this day, up to today, I had to remove myself from her, you know, completely cut her off. I've been in therapy. I'm still in therapy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been in therapy for years. My children had to go to therapy because, like, literally, she didn't even want us to call her mother or mom, mommy. We had to call her by her name.
Yeah.
Her grandkids had to call her by name, and people did not understand, like, why they call their mother, so, you know, by her name. It's the power. It's intoxicating. And when they're up there, because they use the power so much, they forget. They don't think about falling. So that's the answer to that, from my experience.
Shout out to my baby father, Brandon, for the old nasty piece. A Cash App. Yeah, you know, it's a lot of narcissists who are in families. There's a lot of narcissistic family hierarchy and matrices. It's all in our societies. It's in religious systems. It's in political systems. It's in entertainment systems. You know, it's very, very, very wild. But I do want people to, prepare themselves. I want people to prepare themselves to see their favorites, to see people who they have put their trust in, people who they can never have imagined. I want people to put themselves in that mindset. Like, the past few days for me were just shocking. It was shocking. And this is only the first layer of it. So I think we dawned upon the end of the idols and the false gods, that you will not be able to look to any man and or a woman in and of themselves, that what becomes real to you should be based upon what you can accomplish in yourself and what you know to be true in your own character and humanity. Like, this day and age of looking to people is coming to an end, and it's starting with the people. It's starting with the stars themselves. And interestingly enough, the scriptures talk about an age where the stars are going to fall. The stars descend, and I think that that's metaphorically speaking about the false idols that we have resurrected as our politicians, as our religious leaders, as our celebrities, as role models. And there's nothing wrong with having role models, but like the scriptures say, put your faith in no man, in no man. So a great disappointment is about to fall upon us. But thank you for being here, Bala.
Thank you so much, and I love you.
Love you too, boo, and happy holidays to you and the family.
You too. Bye-bye.
So you guys, prepare your brains. It's a lot going on. I think that we can't imagine what's ahead. Olympus is shaking, baby. And the people who can rip Olympus apart they're right there. They're right there on the fucking edge. They're right there, baby. And this retrograde is agitating the pillars. This retrograde is amplifying the tension in Ozempic Hollywood, girl. We're going to have a discussion and a deep dive on TD Jakes. I'll be back tomorrow. I still have my interview to edit with Geppetto Jackson, so that's coming as well. The people that have come forward to me privately and confided and exposed certain things to me, some of those people, when they go up, we're going to go up with them. I can't tell these people stories for themselves, but when they give me the green light, we're going to green light that ass up. And I want to shout out once again to all of my contributors: Anya, Joyce, my baby father Brandon, Ken, Critically Drinking, Cheryl. Shout out to all of you guys. I hope you guys are having a amazing holiday. Tell me what you guys think about Mr. Ledford's new lawsuit. This is the third one, girl. What you think is given? Do you think Christian Key's hands are bloody? Do you think that he's innocent in the mix? What are you guys' thoughts around all of that, girl? Okay, let me know below. We're obviously going to be hearing a lot more out of this situation. More moving parts and more moving parts and more moving parts. Keep just moving, girl. And folk are telling their stories. Folk are telling their stories about what it was like, you know, how they were scouted, how they were vetted. I guarantee you, whomever pop this off and go full-fledged with it, when it comes to the two people in question, Perry and Jake's, girl, there's going to be an avalanche of individuals to follow behind. It is not just one of them. There are many. There are legions. All right. Love you too, Sambo. So I'll see y'all tomorrow. Tell me what y'all think. Share. Goodbye. Love ya. Y'all.